MerleFest 2016 is quickly approaching. I talked with a bluegrass band called Tellico that's playing on Thursday. Listen on to see why I had to ask.
Hi, I'm Lillian, and I'm at the UU Coffee House with the band Tellico. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lillian. It's great to be here.
So, as touring musicians, life on the road must have fun and interesting stories. Tonight you're playing at the Coffee House, and then you're playing a private event, and then at the end of the month, MerleFest. What are some of the unglamorous parts of touring?
Smoke coming out of your tailpipe is, I'd say, pretty unglamorous. We had a little of that this year. Getting lost. Oh, this was a really unglamorous moment recently. We forgot to turn on to 40 from 77, so we got all the way to Charlotte and realized that we forgot to take 40 West to get back to Asheville. That was at midnight, so it made it for like a 2 a.m., 3 a.m. kind of morning. So those kinds of things just happen. Just trying to function in an environment where you have a little less control than your own home creates all kinds of things that happen. Some of them are a little bit epic, but we gave ourselves, I'd say with that missing 40 thing, we gave ourselves about 12 to 18 hours and we were laughing about it. So, yeah, I think a sense of humor helps.
So I noticed that in your bio, you've played with many different bands, including Delia Lowe, Wooden Tooth, and Hillside Bomber. What are some of the differences between playing with all those bands versus with playing with Tellico?
Well, three of us were in that band Delia Lowe previously, so this band's it's one person smaller, so it's a little simpler in some ways, and then.
I'll field the rest of that question. Yeah, those other two bands were bands I was in. I just like to play a lot of different styles, and that Wooden Tooth is a rock band, and Hillside Bombers is sort of like a acoustic, folky kind of punk band. But I also I've played bluegrass since I was 15, so doing this kind of stuff is, it's kind of ingrained.
So my little brother's here today, and he's going to be working press for the first time at MerleFest, and he had a question to ask you.
Oh, please. Shoot.
I know some of you played at MerleFest with other bands. What are some memories you've made there, and what are you looking forward to this year?
I'd say the strongest memory was just seeing Doc play at his festival. I think that was, after I saw him play there and at many other festivals, and then we played in 2013, the year after he passed away, and I guess I just wasn't prepared for what a big absence that was, being on the stage there and seeing the empty rockers. That was definitely a poignant memory.
I watched Doc leave the MerleFest grounds for the last time.
I saw that at the Creekside stage.
We were kind of sitting backstage and we watched them load him into the car, and he drove away, and nobody knew that was going to be the last time he was ever at MerleFest. So it's not the happiest memory, but it's definitely a memory that sticks with me.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys were working on filming a documentary with 88.7 FM WNCW. Can you tell my listeners what filming is like and what we can expect from Southern Songs and Stories?
Well, this series is kind of the slot is to be a 30-minute PBS kind of format, and the idea is kind of the behind-the-scenes experience, a little bit like what you're trying to do with your radio show, and just with video included. And when Joe Kendrick from WNCW approached us to be the feature band for this particular episode, we were just trying to think of ways to give him as many vantage points into how we end up playing what we do and what our backgrounds are, just all being from the North Carolina, Virginia region primarily, and all of the people and places that kind of are behind what we do today. So we kind of went all over the region doing some of our shows, but also some things individually with people that we play music with or have played with. So the documentary will go to a lot of interesting places, from Floyd, Virginia, over to Franklin, North Carolina, and of course in Asheville some too, and just talking to us about how we ended up here.
So when can we look forward to looking at this?
They're still editing that episode, so I imagine probably halfway through the year, maybe summer or fall. I would imagine it'd be out by then. So you can check out their website, southernsongsandstories.com.
So, Jed, you started playing the mandolin at age 15. What advice do you have for teenagers who are aspiring to be musicians?
Just keep it up and find a good teacher, I guess, at first. It really helps, you know. Just do it.
And you played with a lot of people, too, at that time. I mean, when you were playing Andy Thorne and John
Andy,
Stickley.
And Leftover Salmon. John Stickley I've known since I was around that age, 15 or 16. It's a long journey, but it's fun. It never felt like work to me, so it's always been fun.
If you guys could go back in time and give a younger you advice, what would you say?
Don't worry so much.
Maybe don't concentrate so hard on that on the pro skateboarding career. Maybe concentrate a little more on music, because I don't think the pro skateboarding thing is going to work out. That's what I'd say. I'd be a better musician.
So my podcast is called I Had to Ask. What are some things you wish people had to ask you guys in interviews?
What kind of picks do you use?
Yeah.
What kind of strings do you use?
Your questions.
We're always happy to answer. Yeah, we're always happy to answer gig questions and musical instrument questions that we know the answers to. It seems.
I guess.
You seem to be happy to talk about gear.
But I think, what do you think? People that aren't, like, we're kind of here doing this, but what do you think from your experience? Like, what do people want to know about bands and, like, how they...
Well, they always want to know what's next.
What the plan is?
Yeah, what the plan is.
We put out an album last year, and now that that's out, we're really just trying to focus on video and, trying to get that presence more solid. So we're really happy about the Southern Songs and Stories documentary and some of the footage that came out of that. And we have a music video that we just recorded at the Gray Eagle in Asheville with an actress and a producer and a videographer and costumes, and anyway, that was kind of a trip. And then, we're kind of looking towards the next recording project, and it's really interesting with the way social media and the way people access music these days is changing so fast. And, the idea of trying to jump into a whole full-length album is, you're kind of trying to figure out if that's a good focus. So we're kind of talking about that, what the next recording strategy ought to be. Should we do a shorter project, or should we, try to do a whole nother album? But regardless, we've got some new material we're trying to work up, and we'd like to get recorded and out there. So just trying to figure out the best way to do that.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell my listeners?
Support live music.
You never know what's going to happen. If you get to see something on stage, it's going to change you by then. And it's always worth seeing what it sounds like live, because it's a very different experience than just listening to the CD or Spotify or however you access it. So, try it sometime.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Lillian.